as we were driving there to show this, I got a phone call. He said, "Hi, I wanted to make an offer on your property that you have listed. I wanted to make an offer for your asking price of $65,000." I was like, "You want to do what?"
How did this couple make $14,200 from just driving for dollars? Well, they're going to tell you how. Stand by. Let's get it.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.
Hello, guys. This is Ty, aka the Flip Man, and today I have this couple out of Delaware, Rae and Terrell, where their first deal was a difficult deal, but guess what? They closed it in 10 days with as many issues as they had. They made $14,200, but actually should have made $30,000. So they're going to share their story. Make sure you hold on and watch this entire video. But enough of me yapping. How's it going, guys?
Hey, great. It's going fine.
Okay, I really appreciate you all sharing your time and this information because it's going to help me. But more importantly, it should help a lot of others on their journey. So what I like to always do is just start, a little bit maybe before you got involved or interested in real estate, and just if you'll just give us some backstory about you guys and what you do and how you got to this point of educating yourself about real estate, and we'll get into the actual first deal.
Okay. You want to start about what you?
No, you can. I can go. Okay.
Talk about myself.
Okay. So for the last 8 years, I was a mail carrier for the United States Postal Service,
Okay.
and I always felt that it wasn't for me, but I loved what I did because I was really, really good at it. But as I, continued on with the business, with the company, I wanted to be a supervisor. And we all know that there's steps to get there. And I had the time and I had the experience, but it was always something in the way. And it was my attitude with authority. And the particular authority is the authority that abuses it, the authoritative figure. They abuse their authority. And they will always say that I was too abrasive to be in that, spot. And I said, you know what, the work that I do, y'all just want to keep me as a robot, as a slave. And I'm too intelligent for this. And I left the Postal Service. I went back to school while my husband took care of everything.
So,
No, I'm not done.
Okay.
And then, so I've played basketball since the age of 5. I've played through college. And I'm the head coach at Middletown High School of the girls basketball, and that's what I do, not for money, just for the love of the game. And the reason that I started to get into real estate is because my husband's always taking care of everything. Even when I've had a job and made great money, my husband's always taking care of everything. And moving to Delaware, the cost of living in certain areas is very expensive. And I just felt as he was very overwhelmed and I needed to do something. Although he told me, you don't have to work, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, no, this is not going to work for me. So I started to think about that authority issue. And I'm like, somebody has to help. I'm going to the Army.
She always want her own. Look, she always want her own money, period. She gotta have her own money. She don't like to ask for nothing.
I got you.
So I started to research into the Army, and we all know that I'm afraid of handguns or guns, period. And my husband was like, that's not for you. And I was like, maybe it'll help me get over it, because I know they'll break you down to build you back up. Maybe that'll help me, or something, to work under people that I have no choice. That didn't work out. So I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm too nervous. Let's look into something else. So I stumbled upon your videos, and I'll stop there, and then we can continue that after my husband goes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm a professional jeweler. I make custom jewelry, And my whole profession been in jury. That's where I've been in jury and sales. And like what I do is I even do celebrity jury, and I travel. I did a lot. Like I've been out there, and like I said, I'm a master jeweler. So that's been everything I've been doing. But on the side, I've always been into buying and selling. So that wasn't no problem as far as buying and selling. I know how to buy low, sell high. So I've always been in the selling field. But it was at some point in time, it gets slow. Business gets slow. And I hated it. My wife hated it that it happens. And we always have to prepare for certain times of the season when it gets slow. So, we were just trying to figure out. She's been researching real estate for a minute. And like I said, I was in my own lane. Jury was it for me. That's what I was doing. And she would tell me like, hey, Terrell, we need to really look into real estate. Is it really good money? And at the time, I was like kind of naive because I was not so interested in it. And I would kind of just like, okay, yeah, we can look into it. But I wasn't really that interested. But she was like really interested. I had some family members that actually was talking about it. I didn't listen to them either. But I was oblivious to the whole real estate. I didn't think it was real. Honestly, I didn't believe it. I thought all realtors was just nobodies, honestly. But, she kept drilling me about the information. She kept showing me like, look, Rel is real. Watch these videos.
He would go to sleep while I was watching. And I was like, millionaires don't sleep. Millionaires don't sleep. And he was like, I need sleep. And I was like, well, I'm going to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning and watch time.
No, literally, we were arguing about her saying, I can't be asleep. I got to be up. It's like, I got to sleep. Like, I got to be healthy and sleep. But she, she stayed up watching your videos and everything. And it was like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take the time to actually watch what she's really watching. So I started watching the videos with her. And I was just like, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know what wholesaling was. I
thought he always wholesale other things. Like he was real big on Poshmark through wholesaling and middleman. And so what we did, I'm sorry, baby, if you're not done, I will go ahead.
What
I was going to say was, what we did was took our strengths and we exploited our strengths to the best of our ability. So I knew that we could do real estate because he is magnificent at selling the shirt off his back. He can make you think that what he has is super good and it will enhance your life. I know that, right? Skill. So that will work in this because you have to be a salesman, right? And I told him, I said, you are extremely good at talking to people. You are really, and I'm not a people person, but I know how to close. So I told him you're extremely good at selling. You know money off the top of your head. You know what you need to say and what to do to make a person feel that what you have will better their life. Because it's all about bettering someone's life at the end of the day. And what my strengths are, I'm extremely organized.
Way better than I am. I'm terrible at organizing.
I am extremely organized. I am very on top of things and detail oriented, and I don't miss anything most of the time. Most of the time I don't miss anything. So he deals with all the sellers and he deals with any cash buyers, and I deal with closing. Like I step in and get the job done. Because he just sets it up for me and I go in and bam. And once we figured that out, when we went on our first driving for dollars, we had this big argument because we're two totally different people. My husband cannot multitask at all. And during this business, you have to be able to drop the dollars, write it down, type it in. What street are you on? And I just felt that he wasn't giving me everything. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. And that's one thing. I'm very low tolerant for nonsense and stuff like that. So me working with my husband that
was so difficult. It was the worst thing.
And he's used to being his own boss and running his own company and making great money on his own with one-man band.
Can't tell me nothing.
Me coming in and saying, you got to do this. And he's like, hold up. I said, no, if we don't work together, we have to coexist. We have to learn how to coexist and use both of our strengths. You can't shut me out. So it was some challenges in the beginning.
Okay. All right. Interesting. A jeweler. Wow. Boy, there's a lot of ways to make money. So, all right. So we got to the point you got him on board as far as trying to educate yourself, and you all were out driving for dollars. All right, so let's get into how you actually found that first deal and that process from the point that you actually found the deal and what you did to find it.
Okay, so we went to the area that looked like it needed the most work. So most of the houses on the street were abandoned, or it had, like, I could say within 10 years ago, it had a bad name in the area. So most of the houses were already being knocked down and rebuilt up. So that's the area we went to because we know there's more distressed homes and probably more opportunity to find like vacants and stuff. Because most of the areas, the homes are bigger and already remodeled. So this area was, you said like B class area.
Yeah, like the neighborhood is beautiful, but this one particular section was like drug infested years ago, so it still has like a bad rep.
Okay.
Yeah, so
how just out of curiosity, how big of a city is this, the city that you all are in? Well, as far as population.
Population is pretty small.
Very small.
It's a
Everyone
small
knows
town.
everyone.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody. It's
you say 50,000, 100.
I know I'm thinking wrong.
I really don't know.
Well, we can name the city. I can just look it up. I just
Middletown.
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 Mm-hmm.
Middletown, Delaware.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it close to a larger city?
We're down here with like Wilmington, Dover.
Okay.
Middletown is small. Like it's really farmland, and they're just now building a whole bunch of new homes and developments.
Okay. All right. Just out of curiosity, how did you all get there?
That's where my mother lives.
Okay, that's where you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm showing Middletown's population is 18,995. Wow. Now this is going to be a
Told you.
Oh, that's small. All right. Okay. So you identified that type of area. So what happened now?
You want to go? Okay, so we started driving for dollars in that area because that's where I work at. I coach the girls basketball in that area.
Okay.
And my mother lives in that area, so I was familiar with driving through the neighborhood. And once we knew that we were looking for ugly homes, we knew exactly where to go. I knew exactly where to go, and we just mapped out that entire area within like a 1 mile radius. And to our surprise, on this one particular street or several streets, they were all like boarded up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it being in this city.
It was like a hot box almost.
Yeah. Being in this city, like in a 1 mile radius, is nothing but distressed homes, ugly homes, roofs that are caving in, but people live there, like that type of just little section. It's like the area is like a B, but this section is like a C minus.
Okay.
And we stumbled across this just driving for dollars, and we were just taking down addresses of everything. And remember, I was a mail carrier for forever, so I know exactly what to look for vacants.
Right.
I know exactly how to tell what 100 of the street we're on very quickly. How to tell if the home is vacant just by the wet mail, the wet old mail in the mailbox. High grass, but just not high grass. That mail in that mailbox really tells you a lot if it's discolored and stale. So we were going off of those, and sometimes I would even get out and go on a step.
Yeah, now she was doing a lot of things that I wouldn't even do. Like our skin complexion is something I don't want to just jump on somebody's doorstep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's back up on that mail thing. That I sort of knew this, but back up on when you notice that the mail is in the mailbox and it's what now?
It's discolored.
Okay, so that means
it's
there's
wet.
a strong possibility no one lives there.
Yeah, they're not checking their mail. If anyone, even someone that pays their bills late, they still take their mail out.
Yeah.
Especially when it rains. No, if it's discolored, if it's limp, that means that it's been there, it's been rained on. Nobody cares about that mail. It's vacant.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. You were Terrell, you were saying she does things that you're not willing to. Okay.
So she's willing to jump out the car and actually go walk onto the porch to look, because some of the homes, they would have like a piece of paper. It would even say condemned or it would have a paper saying, oh, you need to cut your grass, or we're going to find you and stuff like that. So she would like to go up to the paper and look at it and take a picture of it, because it would have the homeowner's information on there also.
Oh,
so
wow.
she would like to go up close to it, but you know, it's just kind of dangerous, and she just like, I'm jumping out. I'm like, oh my God. You know?
We're from Philadelphia. There's not too many things I'm scared of.
So I'm like,
Especially not in a little big house.
Oh, you grew up in Philadelphia?
Yes, that's where we're from. We moved to Virginia when we were about 22.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, she's out getting information, taking the pictures of the homes, but that's mainly what we're doing. We're driving around, we're taking a picture of the property. We got a little notebook, we're writing down the addresses, so we'll just match the picture with the address, and we'll just go through the whole neighborhood doing the same thing for about a good hour. We'll do that. Like, we have 2 kids, so we gotta worry about our time because we still gotta pick them up. So it's like trying to schedule this out was a bit difficult, but
I think he wanted to know about the deal.
The deal?
Yeah.
Oh.
How we feel.
Okay, but all right, to get back to the.
I told you can't do 2 things at one time.
Property. Okay, so the property that we actually found is a twin home. Now, one section of the twin home, it looked like someone actually did live there. It did have a no trespassing sign, but people still live in it with that sign. But the one next door, it was really distressed. Mm-hmm. And we took the address to the one that was next door to it. And so we took that, we went back home with the information. We found the owner's phone number. Yeah. We found the owner's information. And what I did was I called them. And
how'd you call them?
So how I called them was basically I skip traced the phone numbers, the address, and I got the phone numbers. So when I called the phone number, it looked like it was a church lived next door to the building. And
a church can't live next door, babe.
Okay. Oh, you didn't say this information there. Okay, I'll rumble on.
So he said the church lived next door.
Yeah, he's all right.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. So there's a church next door, directly next door to the building, and on the homeowner information sheet, it said that it was a church, and so I called any random number that popped up, and it was another guy. It wasn't the church that answered. It was another guy that owned it. Well, they previously owned it. That answered, and he told me that, oh yeah, well, the church has purchased it from me, and my friend actually owns the one next door. He said, so you might want to call my friend that owns the one next door because he's interested in selling it. I was like, okay. He said, but the church still owns the one just next door to it. So it was kind of confusing because I had to get information from both sources and wonder why did the church actually buy the one next door and not the one that someone actually lived in. So I called the owner of the one that was not vacant, and he told me that he was interested in selling this property, but the church, he said he quoted that it was pending. And the reason why he said that, because the church, he wanted $35,000 for the property, and the church only had $25,000 towards it. And he said that the church said they'll take about 2 months to get the 10. So he would have had to wait the 2 months to get an extra 10 to be able to sell it. But he said that if I have $35,000 now, he'll sell it to me as soon as possible. And he then offered for me to contact the church to purchase the one that was next door. But so I wanted to make sure I'm getting all the information right. So I contacted the owner, the previous owner from the one next door to it. And he said that the church wanted to purchase the property because they wanted to tear it down. And they want to tear it down and make a parking lot right next door to the church. So in my mind, I'm still confused. Like, should I even be trying to take this property because the church wanted it? And do I feel like I'm doing the best thing? Should I not get the property, or should I
told him God want us to make money.
So I didn't want to seem like I'm taking the property away from the church because they wanted to, they want to make the area nice looking, and they want to just make a parking lot. So, I was still in between. And then, the original owner of the property, the one that was abandoned, said that if you're going to purchase the one next door, he said, kind of be mindful about the guy because he is a slippery guy. He said he was going to buy mine, but never paid me for it. So he kind of warned me about the guy, the owner of the other property. And I was like, okay, I'll watch out for that. So then I went to continue talking on to the other guy. And he just kept telling me, it's a good deal. It's a great deal. Jump on it fast. $35,000 is great. he act like he knew everything, and it was just kind of making me sick because he would just talk for hours. Like he would, he the type of guy when you get on the phone, you don't want to stay on there long. You want to cut to the chase.
Get to
He
it.
just got everything to talk about, and he would.
So did you all sell on the price of 35,000?
Yes.
Okay. How did you how did you determine the ARV on it?
So that's where I come in at. I do all the computer work. I'm the nerd of the operation. And we went back into PropStream. We used Delaware, and we just used the formula. But by this time, I already knew your formula by the back of by the back of my hand. So I didn't even need to go into Delaware anymore because I just remember what you said. Yeah. So I would do, if it, we knew that it needed a renovation once we seen the property. So it was livable. So I did $25 times the square foot of the property. Got that. And although I got that number, it was still, the renovations was still, the repairs was under that because it just wasn't that bad. Okay. It was only about 10,000 and 15,000 max if you wanted to fix the roof. Yeah. So we used PropStream for that. And
what ARV did you come up with for it?
Right. So the ARV that we came up was around 139-ish.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
So we already knew that he could talk all he wanted. Yeah. I already knew what we was going to do with this property. Okay. And so not to be to make sure I'm understanding, there was a property next door to the church, and then there was a property next door to that one. No, so there's a church. Okay. Then we have a twin.
Okay, a duplex.
Yes.
Yeah. So we purchased in one half.
Right.
Of it.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, it's not a duplex. Okay, it's
an actual twin. Like a single family put together.
Yeah. I guess that's the term you all use there.
Yeah, we use twin.
It's one building with two different
separate
owners.
Deeds.
Yep. Yeah, separate deeds. Okay, so yeah, they do that a lot up northeast. Okay, all right. So you all only bought a portion of it, right? The half of it. So I mean, put it on the contract. So so you settled on the $35,000 price. What about the contract process?
Okay, well, the contract. Okay, so the guy, I told him when we went to go view the property, I made one for DocuSign as well, and I also printed out one. Okay. So I wanted him to be able to sign it when I went to go meet him, because he was in between saying if he wanted to sell it to us or not. He still seemed like he was holding on to the church, but we didn't get him to be able to sign it in person. So when we went back home.
Oh, and that pissed me off, Ty. But go ahead. I said, because Ty said if he don't.
Yeah, we wanted to get it done.
Sign it that day, then he is not motivated.
He was afraid of being. He didn't want to be outside because he said he didn't want the church to see him. So
he's a liar.
Whatever that
get
meant.
Into it.
So whatever that meant. But we went back home, and I said I sent him a DocuSign, and I said, get it done. And next thing you know, he comes out of nowhere saying that, yeah, well, my dad's a realtor in Virginia. He's actually from Virginia. And he said, my dad's a realtor in Virginia, and he wants to look over it because he helped me fix the house up and whatnot. So he said, oh, my God, here we go. Okay, go ahead and do that. So he get back to me and say that his dad wanted a more, I'm going to just say a difficult contract, a longer contract. He's a realtor. They got more things to put on there. We don't want to deal with that, though. So he said that he's going to do that. And we also offer him $10 in EMD.
So we said when he sent that contract to his realtor father, he's not going to be happy about this $10.
I ain't gonna be happy about that.
Yeah.
So luckily, some parents don't get things done on time. So we said this, listen, it's about to be the new year. Oh, this is happening on around the 31st of January.
New Year's Eve.
So we needed to get this done because, New Year's resolution. So we want to get that done. Uh-huh. So he said, okay, listen, I'm going to get it done. If he does not send me the new contract, I'm just going to sign yours. I said, okay.
Wow.
So we waited. And then that night on the 31st, he sent it over and signed it. And with the $10 EMD on there and everything, the same one-page contract.
Okay. All right. So he emailed it back to you, faxed it, or?
Emailed it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now you have the contract in place. Okay. You got a good portion of your deal. Okay. It's time to find a buyer. So what did you all do?
Okay, so what we did once we got that contract, it was on. We went into different photos of the property opposed to the ones that was on Google, but we used both.
We also got video too.
Oh yes,
Like you said, get
we
a
did have
video. So we did that.
But Todd, the video was pointless because he used the home as a storage unit.
Okay.
All we were videoing was the floor. So when we were taking video, we just made sure that we got the very intricate things and certain details. Like we would video the roof at the ceiling to show there's no no leaks or
cabinets.
Yes, cabinets, the floor, wash and dryer, the bed. Just the structure.
Correct.
Of what we could see. But once we got all of that in place, we posted the home right on Zillow. Now, before we got there, we doubted ourselves a little bit. And we was like, maybe we need somebody to list this for us. We don't know this area. Maybe we need some help. And we reached out to a realtor, and she was like, do not mess with Lake Street. That is not good for investors. And me and him, talked. I said, she doesn't know. That's why.
Yeah.
So let's leave her where she is.
Yeah.
So we just did for sale by owner, posted on Zillow, and Todd, we had a cash buyer in 3 days.
Oh wow. Okay.
3 days.
So when I'm assuming more than that individual responded.
Yes,
right
they're
away.
still responding actually, when we just had to push sold.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. What made you choose this cash buy? Well, let's go through that process as far as what made you choose that? Basically, what made you choose that cash buyer over anyone else that was calling?
Okay, so I think this may have been like day 2 or day 3 of it being on the market, and we were going to show it at this time. So, like I said, I don't really my husband does all the sales. I don't really talk to people.
Something I'll bring you in.
Well,
so in the beginning, normally,
well, let me ask you this: did the seller give you keys to the property, or how did you handle that?
Okay. So the seller did not give us any keys. The situation was that he had put a digital lock on the door, so you don't have to use a key. You can put in the code.
Okay.
Now apparently, I said I need to have access to the property, and he said, "Well, I don't have the key. I lost the key, so that's why I'm only using the codes to get in."
Wow.
So he's like, "Okay, we can't use the lockbox." Now the situation was that he was going to have his girlfriend meet us at the house at any time.
Okay.
To show off the property. We didn't want her to be there though. Honestly, it's like you don't want the homeowner to be present.
Correct.
Sometimes. But she had a buyer contact her about the property and wanted to come see it. Now this is the first person that we're inviting to come and see the property. Now, apparently when we got there, the girlfriend was late, and I had to force the homeowner, the guy, to give me the code. I said, "Listen, she's not here. I need to get this done." And so he ended up giving me the code, and we got in. And then I wanted her to get used to, being out in the field and talking to people and trying to get, everything going. So I let her handle the buyer when he came, and you can tell him how it went.
So when the buyer came, he, looked around, and I could tell he wasn't interested. First of all, like I said, this home was being used as a storage unit. But I still showed him everything in the house. And then we went outside. When we went outside, I showed remember, this is a twin. So he saw the really, really distressed property attached to it. And I think I told him too much. I was like, what did I tell him? I think I said,
property next door.
I think I just said it was bad. I told him too much. And I think that kind of pushed him away. Mm-hmm. And, he texted me and said, "Thank you for your honesty. But I think that although even after, repairing this property, it still would depreciate because of the attached home to it." And I talked to my husband, he said, "I think you might have, was too honest." And I have that problem with just being honest.
Sometimes in sales, you don't want to be
it's not that you're being too honest, is that you just let them look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Saying too much.
Yeah. Just let them. I'm not going to normally say nothing unless ask a question or whatever, because they're going to make their own judgment anyway or whatever. So, I didn't ask you. You say you listed it on Zillow, which that's going to get some exposure. But you have to also be careful with that, depending on the type of seller you're dealing with, because if they see that property on Zillow, they're going to lose their mind.
Yeah.
But
Reckless at first.
what price did you all market it at? That's what I was getting to.
65.
Oh, 65. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that buyer, I'm assuming that buyer didn't work.
No.
Okay. So what happened
as we were driving there to show this, I got a phone call. He said, "Hi, I wanted to make an offer on your property that you have listed. I wanted to make an offer for your asking price of $65,000." I was like, "You want to do what?" Like, he was like, "Yeah."
He didn't care. He wanted the property.
He was like, "I'll send you everything." I was like, "You don't want to see it?" He was like, I don't really have time right now, but I'll get over there in the next couple of days." I was like, "Okay, I'm about to show it right now, so I will call you back after this showing." And then I called him back, and he sent me POF. He sent his everything, and he sent it on the app. And I was like, "Well, I can't really see your name. This doesn't show me that this is yours. Can you show me from a different view?" He sent me a different view, and I just matched it up with the account number, the last four, and it matched. It was him. Just did my due diligence on that part. And I charged him $1,000 EMD.
Okay, so I think you got on the contract on December 30th and
31st.
I'm sorry, the December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And then so this guy stepped forward, I guess basically on the 3rd or 4th of January?
It was a 3rd.
The 3rd, okay. Mm-hmm. And so you put it in the contract, he sent over the EMD. Who chose the title company?
We did.
Okay, you all.
My wife actually searched them up and found them.
Okay, all right. So he was cool with whoever. Okay,
yeah.
All
right. Did not care about anything.
Okay, so the title company, did you have to explain the wholesale process, or they've already done it, or what was the situation with that?
I had to explain the entire process. I actually did not have to explain the process at first. Initially, I asked them, "Do you guys work with reassignments?" And they said, "Oh, yes. We have a lawyer specifically for that area that handles assignment contracts." Mm-hmm. I said, "Okay, perfect. Then we have a closing attorney." Come to find out, when I got in touch with the attorney, she had no idea what I was talking about. And we all know that choosing the wrong closing attorney will ruin your deal fast.
Oh, yeah.
And this is when I started to get really pissed off, because I told you I have zero tolerance. I have zero tolerance for the asinine behavior. And she tried to push us off to another attorney. And I'm like, lady, the buyer wanted to close. So we closed in 7 days. He wanted to close immediately.
Yeah.
Because he actually tried to close 10 days out. And I was like, well, how's the 10th? And he was like, that'll work. So that was 7 days. So I kind of pushed on him for not 10 and 7. Just, we can tell and differentiate the wholesaler from the cash buyer. And he was ready to go with 7 days. And they really, really made our 7 days a living hell along with this seller. Our buyer was amazing. And so I'm talking to them. And by this point, we have a para. They're sending us now, although I told them this was reassignment, this was an assignment contract. They sent us the settlement information as if it was us. Okay, you are not listening. I told you that we are assigning this contract. Oh, well, are you going to be doing double closing? Because we don't do that. And I said, I never asked you about a double closing. Okay. So at this point, I know they do not know what we're talking about, and they are not the people for us. But we are now losing days.
Yeah.
They've done the title search already.
Yeah.
So we would have to pay for that title search or ask that attorney to accept their title search and pay for it. It would just be too complicated. So for this first deal, I said, babe, I think that we should just continue with them, and we will never do this again. Okay. I said, Ty said, you will learn most of all you need to know in that first deal. And we did. So the title company is pushing us onto another a closing attorney. We called him and he told us he was really upset that the woman told us that he does things different. Basically, she was saying he does things off the books, or that he's not supposed to as an attorney.
Yeah, so that kind of
that. And I remember I told you I'm too honest. I shouldn't have told him that like that. That she said that. So that ruined our chances of working with him, and he probably would have, because where we are is so small. They all know each other.
Yeah.
So he was like, I have too many to close in the next, week. I can't do it, but this is what you need to do. So he told us that we need to get, yes. So the gentleman that we spoke to, he said, this is what you need to do. You need to get an assignment contract. I said, oh, okay, because we have 2 purchase and sell agreements. He said, no, not here. They won't do it like that. Excuse me. He said, you need an assignment contract for your buyer. He knew exactly what we needed to do, Ty. And he said, that way you're exposing everything, and then there's nothing hidden.
Yeah.
And he said, your buyer needs to know anyway, which we were already aware of.
Yeah.
He said, and that's how you close. And they handle it as a single closing. Everyone's in the room together, and that's it. There you go. So I said, okay. We took that information and called the lady, and she said, all right, your buyer. I was like, she has no idea. She has no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So she said, okay, I'll call him myself and ask. I'm like, call him yourself. You told me to speak to him. I did that. I'm bringing you the information.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really, really fed up. And what I really had to learn in this business is that I can't be so short-tempered. Like, I can't just
it takes a great deal of patience.
Yes, and I have a great deal of lack of patience.
I'm the patient one. She's not.
I don't. I mean, I have patience with our children and, within us and our little family. And that's basically it. I don't really have patience for anything else that is asinine. Mm-hmm. And this was really, really testing me, because you're a closing attorney. If you don't know it, educate yourself. Like, I'm really big on knowledge is power. If you don't know, educate yourself. Y'all have told us that you do this, but you really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was a big problem, though.
So
the contract, you didn't want to show it.
Say again?
You didn't want to show it. About the assignment contract, when we sent it over to the buyer, and he had no problem with it. He seen that it said $30,000 on it.
Signed it right away.
He signed it right away. With no problem. I'm like, okay, I'll give you $30,000. Cool, I want the property. But we didn't want to expose it to the seller. Now, like I said, the seller, you douche. I'm just saying a douche. And we wasn't too comfortable with him being able to see that, but we know that we didn't think he would see it soon. And we were just trying to find out how could we get around that, but which we couldn't. He obviously good.
Well, he should have only seen it. Like, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll send over the HUDs.
That's when he saw it
to everybody, just to review, and it should only be on the you have the borrower side and the seller side. The borrower side is the cash buyer with an investor, the buyer, and
is this right here?
Yeah, and so but it's not on his side, so it shouldn't have mattered anyway. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
So you want to talk about him saying that, yeah, I can do this and that?
Oh, okay. So, remember that I'm the closing part. I'm the closing partner of this. So, anything that's going into closing and sealing a deal, that's where I come in at. So my husband has already done his part. I told you he can sell anything. So we got the deal, and now we're about to go to closing. Well, before that, we've met the seller, multiple times, maybe 2 or 3 times. And remember, this is only in a week time frame. And it's felt like 7 months instead of 7 days. Now, when we met him, when his lady friend would come, he would be a completely different person.
Yep.
And he would go into, because I can rent this out. I can just fix it up and take the stuff out and put it up and get $50,000. I'm like, well, why you ain't do it?
Yep. And he acts like, when I first talked to him, he would say, yeah, I need to sell this property if you can get it sold, or because he started to say, saying, oh, if you're a cash investor, then you're a cash investor. You also, I understand you can wholesale the deal as well. So he kind of understood already about wholesaling and being a cash investor. he act like he know everything. So I'm like, well, I'm buying it in cash regardless, whatever. I also told him that if I feel as though in the future that I choose to have someone else be on the contract, then I'll do that. But either way, I go both ways, just to kind of keep it up in the air. So he, like I said, sometimes he would act like, yeah, I need to sell it as soon as possible.
He was super motivated.
I have to put this $35,000 towards an auto business and stuff like that. But when we'll meet him and his girlfriend will come along, he is a complete different person. Like I said in the beginning, he said contact the church to try to get that property. Now, when we meet him with the girlfriend, he gonna say,
he said to me, Ty, I'm sorry, babe. He said to me, oh, the church don't want to talk to you. And I remember my husband came home and told me that he specifically said, talk to the church. That, you know, just tell them that you'll give them $15,000 because they only paid 10, and that you're going to fix it up and make it look great for them. This was the initial meeting with my husband and him by himself. But now I came and his girlfriend is there. He's big S. He is big S and talking real heavy. And he's like, oh, I can rent this. Oh, I know what I can do. Oh, I know what y'all can do. Grant Cardone. I said, I don't watch Grant Cardone. I don't watch Grant Cardone. I don't know what you're talking about.
So this is after he got the paper with the HUD to see what you all was making.
No. This was just after we signed the contract and we're bringing buyers.
Oh, okay.
We're bringing buyers. And he's acting funny. So this was the beginning of us knowing that he was going to be a nightmare for us.
Yeah.
So now our
he started acting like he know what we're doing and everything.
Yes, he's on to us, although it was never a secret.
Yeah.
Now we're working with the closing attorney, the law firm, and our search has come back now.
Yeah.
This is where it goes south.
Whew.
He has a $13,000 judgment on his face.
Oh.
Okay, from 2013.
Wow.
It's attached to his name, middle name, everything is identical. That was number one. My husband contacted him about that because to see if it was his. Maybe it could be a mix-up. He has a popular last name. Let's see. So he spoke to him. Oh, initially he told us he had $2,000 in back taxes and he was going to take care of that. That's when we originally spoke to him. Now he contacts him about this and he's like, oh, I don't have to do that. That was my girlfriend's car that I bought for her. I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that. I need my $35,000. I'm going to walk. Okay. So we're like, okay, you don't seem too motivated. You know, that's what we're saying to ourselves. And we got in contact with the closing attorney again, and we had to speak to them over 30 times within this 7 days.
They said they could possibly talk to the creditors or whoever it is that had a judgment on them, and maybe it could be a less amount and it could be paid down somehow. But that paper never came back. It took like 2-3 days for us to get to a final agreement of saying, okay, we won't know yet about the information. Now, we're talking about the other part.
Oh, well, still on the judgment. He did not want to pay it. He said it was his girlfriend's. It's not his. Now, although he did buy the car, okay, it was in his name. She wrecked it and didn't pay it off. Like, sir, that's still your obligation. You purchased the vehicle, okay? He did not want to pay it at all. Oh, I can contact this person and I can get down half.
Yeah, but he said he could also gift it over to us.
He could gift it to us.
Gift it over to you, and then we could do the whole sale process, but I'll just have to pay the taxes and stuff. I'm like, dude, you're coming up with all this stuff. I'm like, we need this stuff on a agreement. Like, how can my buyer even get anything without, like, that's just doing too much. We're going to do it the original way.
Contractually.
Yeah. So it was just getting confusing. And then we were even thinking about if they can get it down, maybe we'll pay some of it, you know?
Yeah.
So let me go into that.
Okay.
So we started to negotiate. This is our first deal. You know, this is our first deal. So I remember everything that you said. You know, if they interested in what you're making, you don't work with them. You know, if it's too difficult for this, you don't work with them. Leave them alone, right? And I was like, you know, 30,000 was a bit much to just walk away from. It's a bit much.
I was ready to quit. I said, listen, I'm not calling him back no more.
Well, this is what I can already tell you what I would have done. And sounds like you all worked it out even better than what I would have done. If he didn't want to pay, you said it was 13,000. If he didn't want to pay it, I probably would have just paid it all. Right.
Okay.
So it made 17,000. But go ahead though.
So we about to get there. So it was 13 on his face since 2013. So we all know that interest accrues. So I started researching, looking up. I wanted to find what was my husband did, for the life of him, could not understand why I was, entertaining this type of research. And I was like, listen, I want to know to tell our buyer, because we didn't tell our buyer anything, because we didn't want to fluster him with nonsense that he didn't need to worry about if we could take care of it first.
So he still think closing day is on the 10th.
Yes. So I started to research what was the mandatory or like that baseline of interest rate on on judgments.
Yeah.
And I found out that it was 8.25%. I started doing my calculations just to see what it would be in 2020. So I had a rough, estimate of it being like around 18,000. Well, we thought it was in 2017, so we thought it was going to be about 16,000 after all the interest. But come to find out, this is from 2013, so all the information is wrong. I'm sure it's about 20,000 now. And we told him, okay, we'll pay half.
I think we paid. We said we paid the whole thing.
No. We did not say we'll pay the whole thing. We said that the closing attorney would negotiate it down with the judgment people.
Oh, yeah.
And we would pay that. Whatever that half was, because that's what we wanted to negotiate, that payoff, we would pay half. And we would pay that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay. He just wants his 35,000. And he was like, all right, I'll do that. The next day, I get a phone call and from our para over there, and she said, this thing is getting worse and worse. And I was like, what now? And she said, he has $8,700 in back taxes. I said, oh my God, are you kidding me? She said, yes, he has 2002, the town and the state, and he has a $6,000 utility bill. I said, you know what? One thing that I cannot stand is a person that is not upfront. You're not honest.
Yeah.
You're not honest. You told us $2,000 and that you would pay that. But now we hear about a $6,000 utility bill. And the closing attorneys told us that the town has been chasing him. So they're not going to lower it. They're not going to lower it. When my husband called him, he told him, they said they're not going to lower it. You have $8,700. He's like, what? Oh, I ain't paying that. Oh, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to go down there and they're going to take a payment on that. I'm going to get that in half. And I'm just like,
wasting more time. It's getting close to the 10th.
If we did not want this sale and we didn't have an amazing buyer,
oh man,
I would have been walked away from him.
He's so cheap. He don't want to pay nothing.
It is disgusting.
And it's his own mess. It was his own mess. And you do things in the past, it'll come back to bite you.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to own up to it. So, like I said in the beginning, we agreed about, okay, we can't get it to halfway down on the judgment, we'll pay the whole $13,000 judgment. Fine. But now, since this has come up, now we got to figure out how we're going to work this out.
Now he want to go down to the town. They're going to let me pay half. Okay. He went down to the town. They told him, no.
Yeah.
You have to meet with the mayor.
And we said, we're not pushing the date back.
You have to meet with the mayor of the town. And this was for next week. And I said, no, we're not pushing back closing. I don't care what you do. We're not pushing back closing. Because I have everything structured around this date. My buyer has moved things around to make this date. So you better make it work. And I told my husband, I said, we have to still show that we are for the seller.
I didn't like him after that, though.
He had pissed us off so bad.
I literally did something wrong and I should have done this.
So at the 87, so what was the total amount? What was the total amount that he owed everybody?
13 and 87.
13 on his face. That payoff never came back, so we don't know how much it accrued. And 87.75.
Okay.
So roughly almost $22,000.
Okay.
On a $35,000 deal.
So what did he end up paying at closing?
Okay. So the attorney that's working on our deal, she said, listen, the judgment can fall off in a couple of years. Now, since if your investor is for buy and flip, it's not going to be work for him. If he's buy and hold, then it'll fall off in a few years. The lien will fall off, and he'll be able to, get a clean title to be able to resell it if he wanted to. But that's the only way he can get it right now, is if he gets it with the lien on the property. He'll get the title, he'll get the insurance and everything else, but he won't be able to sell the property until the lien falls off within a few years, maybe 6 years. I think that's what they said. Now, she said, tell him this. She was on the side this time. She was like, tell him this, and then tell him to call me. So I told him, I said that it's a lien on the property, but they want to explain it to you. She didn't answer when he called her to get more information. So I said, I'll have my wife contact you. My wife contacted him and explained everything to him and said, to fall off and stuff like that. Like, it's still good for you if you're buying and holding. So
when I spoke to him, I told him all the pros and all the cons. And I told him that I could start to hear the tone in his voice, the intentional pauses and things like that. Yeah. And I said, and I know that you want this property and I'm willing to make this work for you. We can pay half of the judgment so that if you do decide to sell it in 2 years and the buy and hold does not work for you, you're tired of that property. That way, if it hasn't fallen off, you already have half of the amount from us to go towards to pay that judgment off. So you'll have a clear title. And he was like, let's do it.
So she offered him $7,000. We give him $7,000 towards the 13 that we know of. And so when it does come back, he'll at least have $7,000 towards it to pay it off. So that's what our deal. So we knew that the buyer didn't want to pay anything. The seller didn't want to pay anything. So we said, listen, in the beginning, I did tell him this. I said, he asked me to pay off the debt and everything for him. I said, no, I'm not here to pay your debt off. I told him that to his face. Literally, he said, well, y'all can pay the taxes. I said, I'm not here to pay your debt. So we offered to pay half of the $8,700. We said we can give him $4,000 because we're going to give the buyer $7,000 towards the.
We're just trying to make it work.
Yeah, so we're splitting payments between both. We're splitting payments between both, and that's how And then the seller said, okay, he can do that. He'll pay $4,000, whatever it is, towards it as well. And that's what we agreed on. And then
here comes closing.
The 10th comes. Here's closing. More situation.
Okay, we get to closing. I don't go in. I just stay out. And he called. So when I called my husband, I said, okay, what's going on? Because we had to get our daughter from school at 1:30. Closing was at 12:30. We all know it only takes about 20 minutes to an hour if you have to negotiate some things, but typically 20 minutes. So I said, we should be in and out. Yeah. It was about 25 minutes into it. And I called him. I said, hey, what's going on? He said, he's in another room.
Yep. Now, before she say anything else, we were deciding if we wanted to go to closing or not. We was like, we don't have to go. But we wanted to keep the buyer as well as for another property in the future. So we wanted to meet him again and say thank you and stuff like that. But I did not trust the seller when he gets there because he talks too much, and I can feel that he's going to do something real sneaky. So I went because I had a feeling he would do something. And when I got there, apparently, I'm telling him, going to it. Going to the.
Go ahead.
Okay. So when I got there, me and the buyer was there on time. We talked and stuff. He came late, about 15 minutes late, the seller. He ended up walking into another room. So me and the buyer was in one room, and he went to another room. And apparently, he had told the para that he don't want to pay any back taxes. He don't want to pay anything. He wants to walk away with $35,000. And if we decide not to pay all the taxes, then he's going to walk away. He said that because I have a buyer lined up. And
threw out a name.
He threw out a name to the para saying that, yeah, I got a buyer and the buyer name is this. And if they don't want to pay the back taxes, then I'm just going to sell it to that person. So my wife, as soon as she heard that, she knew he was lying.
I said, he's lying. He's lying. He doesn't have a buyer. He doesn't have a buyer.
We talked to him the day before, and he knew he didn't have a buyer.
Yesterday, he just asked you to pay all his taxes. You told him you wasn't his debt consolidator. And he did not have a buyer then. He still wanted to close. He's lying. He doesn't have a buyer. And the attorney is supposed to be on the buyer's side. Oh, I believe him. I know who the flipper is. Of course, he probably looked on the sign down the street and seen who the popular flipper was and just told you that name. And you're falling for that. He doesn't have a buyer. That's just a sales tech.
You know why? It's because she sent over the email to him with all the details, and it shows $30,000 by my name. And he never knew what we were making. He thought he was probably making like 15, 20, something like that. But he never knew he was making 30. And plus, he knew we were willing to pay out up to $13,000 and everything. So he then started to go off of our money.
Yep.
As soon as he got that email, before he got there, that's why he was late. He started to say, "I'm gonna renegotiate this. I want them to pay everything."
So we did, Ty.
So what'd you do?
So unfortunately, we was like, everybody in the building, the whole building was kind of like, this dude is whacked out of his mind. Like, he was tripping. Like you said, he was in another room. So she came back and told us and said he don't want to pay anything. We said, you know what? We're just gonna pay it. We'll pay the 87 and we'll give him the 7,000. And let's call it a day. I had to pick my kid up. I ain't got no more time to waste. I just hope that whatever he's doing goes wrong.
Okay.
But yeah,
they were trying to give us 10,000, and luckily I was on the phone. And
you did the numbers right.
Yes, I was doing the numbers like quickly in my head, and I heard her say, "Oh yeah, you're gonna walk away with 10 to." I was 10. No, honey. 8 and 7 is 15. We should get something right in the low end of 14. And he said it to her, and she. I heard her on the phone say, "Wow, she's fast. She's right. It's 14. Yeah, come on, get that right. We don't need to lose no more money, okay?"
Okay, so you actually you made you should have made 30, but you ended up making 14.
We took home, so they paid us 30.
Okay,
they deducted it from
yep, they debited
from the checks that is given to us. So on the paper it said 30, but then it was deducted afterwards.
Yeah.
So the final take was 14,000. 14,200.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
This is crazy.
Oh wow. So yeah. That's hey, man, that's a joke of that. But again, hey, the way you look at it, number one, was half a zero, right?
Yep.
And the other thing is that in the way I look at it is that that's an actual real cash buyer. They basically paid you $14,200 to be introduced to this cash buyer. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
Of course, you left. You got snubbed out of $15,800 if my math is correct.
Yep.
But well, is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so, but again, 14.2 is nothing to sneeze at. So, so now you got that deal closed. It was a whopper in the sense that what you had to go through, it gave you a good experience on putting an actual deal together from A to Z. What's next for you guys?
Well, right now we're looking for another property. We have built our buyers list because I did put a list on Craigslist before and it stayed there for a while, and the list was still up until pending. So a lot of people were still contacting us about the property. So what we did was we made a buyer list out of that. We took the information and said, if it doesn't close, then we'll have another property for you. And we have since then, we have about 25 people as a buyers list. And this is people that's like, seriously, we already vetted people that's not wholesalers. So we have actual cash buyers now. So we're pretty much now set for the next property. And everybody is like ready to jump on it.
Okay, cool. Are you going to go beyond? Are you going to go beyond that town, or that you're going to go into the neighboring cities?
Yep, we are. We actually have a buyer that contact us directly, and his buyer limit. Oh, he's want to start around 300,000.
Oh wow!
So that's where he wants to be at. He's really big in the area for buying properties, and so he wants to be around 300,000. So we still looking in other areas other than that area. So
yes, we have about 3 cities that we do, and we did not talk about. Well, let me answer your question first. So we have about 2 other cities along with that one, and we constantly drive for dollars because I don't have to be to work until 1:30. Okay. So we constantly drive for dollars from the time we drop our children off.
Okay.
Up until that time, and we are now we have about 2 properties in the works. Okay. Because our goal is to do 3 properties a month, whether that be 45,000 to 60,000 a month. And that's what I play with those numbers, because I know they say to start at 10,000, but we always start at 15. And if we get to 10, then that's fine. Just to give us a wiggle room for instances like this one. Right. Because if we only give ourselves 10,000 on this deal, which it would have sold the same time as the 30,000, we wouldn't have no money to play around with. So it wouldn't have been a deal at all. with him owing $22,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're
still sticking with the area though.
Yes, we're still sticking with that area. We have a lot. Oh, and we also, I got out and talked to a mail carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And
now this is her field. John said, no, you talk to her. That's your field right there.
I got out, I talked to her. We talked about me being a mail carrier. And that made her more interested in talking to me because we have the same lingo. And she was excited now to talk to me. And we've been trying to get in contact with this one investor. And it just so happened that investor is her brother-in-law. And we were like, what? We would have never known if I didn't get out and talk to her. Correct. And she sends us properties like no other. She at least sends me about 4 or 5 a day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Because she knows what's vacant. You know, she knows what's vacant. So we never put out bandit signs.
Yeah, we never got to do the whole marketing. We didn't want to spend our own pocket money until we made some money to start marketing. So now that's what we're doing right now.
So driving for dollars was like
driving dollars really helped. So now what we're doing, we're getting business cards because we see that a lot of people, we should be able to give it to them. Mm-hmm. And we're working on bandit signs and also working on like a car sign and put it on the side of our car.
Yeah.
So it's a few things we're working on now to be able to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, wow. Wow. That was a interesting way to for your first deal to go down. Now, it actually happened really quick, though. That's the thing about it. With all of those issues, you basically closed in 10 days and made, $14,200. So that's amazing in itself. That, with all those issues, normally it normally takes sometimes months to close a deal like that. And then you were dealing with a seller that wasn't above board, which, that will happen sometimes. Just like, buyers that are not above board, but that's the business. But most people are reasonable at the end of the day. So again, guys, wow. Rae and Terrell, I really appreciate you guys sharing your story. I know this is going to help some people along their journey. Anything else you want to add before we end this?
I just want to let people know that if you are by yourself, just stay determined and ambitious, because that's what drives me. I'm determined, I'm ambitious. And if you have if you're a couple, just use your strengths. Use your strengths and exploit those strengths and just try to weed out the weaknesses. And just stay determined and just believe in each other. Whatever he's good at or whatever, the relationship entails, whatever your partner is good at, use what you're good at and bring it together. And don't give up and just do anything possible as long as it is in the laws. Do anything possible for what it takes to make that deal work for your seller and your buyer. And when you have a difficult seller, don't lose track that you're still supposed to be very invested into the seller as well, although they may be difficult.
Boom.
Yeah, and I'm just say, I believe in it now. I didn't believe in it. I did not believe in it before. Definitely take the chance to look into it. Ty's videos definitely helped out. Very informative. Don't give up. Definitely believe in yourself. And if you feel like you're getting down, just go back to watch the videos again and just start over. Make sure that you know that you want to get to the finish point. The finish point is closing. That's what you want to worry about getting to. That's what matters, is closing date. Get your check, go home, continue on to the next project.
There it is. There it is. Okay, so again, guys, I really appreciate you all sharing this valuable information.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as I always say, we'll see you guys on the flip side.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.